So we're very quickly going to show you what's in the actual career development personality report. And this is pretty groundbreaking as regards personality reports. One, it's specifically about careers and goes into a lot of detail. So let me just quickly take you through it to show you what's in it. First thing is it's personalised throughout, so it uses the actual your client's name. The other things you should know is that the report is written to your client specifically, so it's not written about the client, it's written to them. It talks directly to them, and it's designed really so that they can read it, understand it, make most of it, and share it with you, and they can discuss what it means and what that means and decisions that they make about their career. So first thing is there's some explanation to the client about setting the expectations, how to use the report, what exactly it is. So it presumes that they have never seen a personality report, and chances are they've maybe not seen a People Maps personality report, so they need to understand what's in it. So it sets the ground and explains it to them and gives them some instructions as to what's to expect. Then the first big thing you'll see will be their map. So again, you want to know what that is, and their flag in this case here is up here in the northeast here. So that's the first thing, and everyone is somewhere on the map. We then start broadly, so we look at key strengths, and we'll go through a bunch of key strengths and explain that. We'll also look at the areas of challenge for this particular candidate and touch on those. Next thing we move into is motivation. So understanding what motivates an individual is very much a personality issue. We are all motivated very differently, and that's largely affected by our personality. So we talk about that at some length, because when it comes to career, it's not just what you do, but why you do it really matters. So it's quite a long topic. There's plenty to discuss. So you'll see that the topic's format varies. So it talks, in this case, there's the positive aspects about what motivates them, and then we talk about maybe possible negative aspects, what would be holding them back maybe. Also even talks about how they motivate others, because they might be moving into a management role, so we threw that in as well. You then see questions that you may want to ask and decisions that they may need to make. So this is questions that the candidate maybe need to ask themselves or potential employers to clarify things. So that's a typical format for many of the topics that's in here. We then look at the work environment, and work environment is absolutely key. People Map strongly believes that you have to align the work environment with the individual's core personality. So it's so important. And again, it's quite a detailed, lengthy topic in itself. It's almost a whole personality report just about that. It then goes into, you'll see the first of these, and there's quite a few of these in each of the reports. It's the People Maps gauge, and this is a very approximate measure of various aspects, very specific aspects. So in this case here, the specific thing we're looking at is can cope with repetitive tasks and repetitive work days. So if someone scores green and up here in the high, then they can easily cope with repetitive tasks and repetitive work days. Obviously, if they're down here in the red, then that is not the case. So in this case here, someone's sort of middle of the road, so they can cope, but it's not something they're really good at. We then talk about their boss, what their ideal boss would look like and what they need to see in a boss, and of course what their worst type of boss would be. So again, we'll look at that as well. And many people blame themselves for all sorts of things, when in fact it's usually just a problem that they have with their boss, and it's a poor match in terms of personality. We'll then talk about their colleagues. The people you work with can very much affect whether you enjoy the work or not. So you need to understand how you interact with your colleagues and what it is you need from your colleagues. We then look at things like pressure and working under pressure. Can they cope with pressure? What does pressure them? We're all pressured by different things, so it talks about that. And of course you'll get another gauge where we talk about and measure specifically their ability to remain calm under pressure. We then move into communication style, how they communicate with the world, and we'll talk about that in some detail. And again, you can see that's a really lengthy, detailed personality topic. It's almost a whole report in itself. And again, actively listens to and seeks to understand what customers say and mean. So this is an indication of how someone actually communicates, one aspect of their communication in any case. We then look at administration and how they administer. The gauge here is looking at their natural attention to detail. And then we talk about presentations to groups, and that comes in many forms, but we figured it was an important thing to include. Okay, not every job requires a presentation, but it tells you something about the individual. And here we're looking at how their natural tendency to be proactive in influencing the decisions of others. And in this case here, you can see as someone scoring very high. We then look at customer focus and their ability to do that. And team building. So we then get into team building side of things. So again, you can see this is a really detailed report. We get into all sorts of things. So you can work in great detail with your clients using this type of information. And it's unlikely you or they have ever been exposed to so much detail and so much that's thought-provoking about the individual themselves. We then look at the company again, and this is kind of partly connected to work environment. How does the company actually make decisions? And some decision-making processes will suit your client better than others, so you need to understand what that is. A lot of people are unhappy at work simply because the company's decision-making policies are incongruent. We then look at their ability to organise themselves, and again we go into that in great detail, and time management. Big issue in most jobs, so again we talk about it at some length. And rejection. Now many jobs, not all jobs, but many jobs have some aspect of rejection as part of the job. Certainly sales jobs, customer service jobs, almost wherever you're dealing with the public at large, you can find that that's the case. So again we talk about how that is and if that affects and how that affects the individual. Similarly, dealing with the public. Some people are much happier dealing with the public than others. It's very much a personality thing. We then look at delegation and how they like to be delegated to, and I think we even touch on how they delegate. And then of course we move into leadership. So if you're working with senior people and more senior executives, then of course leadership's a key thing, and we go into this in great detail. So another lengthy personality topic that talks in a lot of detail about the individual within the context of leadership. We'll look at the things that this person actually finds challenging, and we talk about that here as well. And then finally we move into the last part, which is looking at the company ethics and values, what they need from any company in terms of the ethics and values of that company. So that's it. That's the personality report for career development. I think you'll agree it prints to over 30 pages. It's over 7,000 words. It's a huge report. It goes into a lot of detail. However, it's extremely valuable, extremely insightful, and you and your client will get an awful lot from this report.